of Pfizer's vaccine should be administered. Some say effectiveness at preventing moderate illness wanes after several months. An FDA panel will debate data from Pfizer today. Sony Salzman with the ABC News medical unit has the other side of the argument.
Other scientists are saying, no, hold up. These vaccines are still working extraordinarily well to protect people from hospitalization. They are still keeping people out of the hospital. That should be the bar. It's too soon for a booster right now.
The committee's decision is non-binding. The FDA will make the final decision. There's been a new influx of migrants to an entry point near Del Rio, Texas, says ABC's Faith Abube.
More than 10,000 migrants flooding from Mexico into Texas, seeking asylum. Sources say most are from Haiti. The influx attributed to that country's recent earthquake and political instability. U.S. border officials are overwhelmed.
Authorities say they're sending more manpower and supplies. Many of those migrant asylum seekers are seeking shelter under an international bridge. Today, President Biden takes part in a virtual climate summit. Security around the Capitol has been beefed up ahead of tomorrow's planned rally to support those charged in the January 6th Capitol riot. ABC's Rachel Scott has more.
The fencing around the U.S. Capitol is back up. Signs around the city saying, if you see someone with a firearm, immediately call 911. Washington bracing for Saturday's rally in support of those charged in the January 6th riot. The Department of Homeland Security issuing a bulletin that people either involved in or opposing this weekend's event may seek to engage in violence.
The department says it's not seen evidence of a credible plot. Citing the toxic dynamics within our own party, Republican Congressman Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio will not run for re-election. You're listening to ABC News.
The pandemic's reminded us we live in a sea of airborne germs that can assault us with every breath. Your nose is the body's first line of defense by helping filter out allergens, bacteria, and viruses before they reach your lungs. But like any air filter, the more clogged up it gets, the less it works. So how do you clean your nose? I'm Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. The neti pot's been around thousands of years. But I did invent Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. Navage uses powered suction to flush out mucus and germs that cause congestion, or worse, can make you sick. Over 2 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage has over 70,000 online reviews averaging 4.7 stars because it works and it's easy to use. Go to Navage.com or find Navage at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Now available with eucalyptus for a spa-like experience. Navage. N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
France is still steaming over the new partnership between the U.S., the U.K., and Australia.
France accusing U.S. President Joe Biden of stabbing it in the back and acting like his predecessor Donald Trump after the U.S. announced a nuclear submarine deal with Australia and the U.K. France had already signed a contract to sell Australia submarines. That deal has now been killed, and France is set to lose billions of dollars. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Paris.
An app created by allies of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny's disappeared today from both the Google and Apple stores just as voting opened across Russia. The app included a list of candidates standing against Russian President Vladimir Putin's party. Russian prosecutors say the app amounted to election interference. It may still be more than 3 months until Christmas, but experts are warning about potential shortages of must-have gifts because of shipping problems. Steve Paserb heads the Toy Industry Association.
It's a problem from the loading docks in China all the way to the retailers' loading docks in the United States. The biggest part of it being ocean shipping, being extraordinarily expensive and taking much longer than it ever has.
4 civilians continue to orbit Earth aboard a SpaceX capsule. Meanwhile, 3 Chinese astronauts wrapped up the country's longest ever mission in space. They concluded a 3-month stay aboard their own space station. This is ABC News.
500,000 businesses connect using Zoom. A single platform for video, phone, chat, and conference rooms. Zoom enables real-time collaboration no matter where your teams are. Global enterprises trust the easy-to-use, reliable, and secure Zoom platform to power high-performance teams. Empower your workforce with Zoom. Save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with a Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the wrist. Your Friday forecast, looking for mostly cloudy conditions with rain showers possibly. Only a slight chance of rain this afternoon. Highs around 81 for today with a chance of thunderstorm developing. Tonight looks like partly cloudy skies with some isolated thunderstorms, but only about a 20% chance of that happening. Saturday and Sunday looks pretty good too. There may be an off and on shower with some thunderclouds developing Saturday afternoon and again on Sunday. But overall the weather's looking pretty good, so enjoy the weekend. Cloudy this morning. Looks like it might could clear up, but there is a chance of a forecast of rain later today. About a 30% only around noonish. Now looking forward to the extended forecast next week. It'll be clearing out of here by Thursday. There's a chance each day next week of a little, 20% chance, 30% chance kind of thing. But most of it's going to be pretty good weather. Right now, 67 degrees at WCAB in Rutherford. Now I have these death announcements. Andrew Carnegie Hart III, 76, of Ellenboro, passed away September the 12th at Rutherford Hospital after a fatal car accident. The family will host a celebration of life at the Women's Clubhouse in Ellenboro on Friday, September the 17th, today at 6 until 8 o'clock this evening at North Glen Street in Ellenboro. Again, that's Andrew Carnegie Hart III. David Crawford Russ, age 87 of Forest City, died Wednesday, September the 15th at his home. The funeral service will be held 11 o'clock Monday, September the 20th in the Paget and King Chapel. Burial will follow at Eternal Hills Memorial Park. The family will receive friends from 10 until 11 Monday at the mortuary prior to the service. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for David Russ. Otis Rollins Jr., 61 of Forest City, passed away Wednesday, September the 15th at Adrium Health in Shelby. Funeral services will be held on Tuesday, September the 21st at 1 o'clock at Crow's Mortuary, with burial following at Eternal Hills Memorial Park. The family will receive friends Monday, September the 20th from 5 until 7 at Crow's Mortuary. For Otis Rollins. Harry F. Black, age 87 of Forest City, died Sunday, September the 12th. Graveside services will be held 11 a.m. today at Eternal Hills Memorial Park. Military honors will be provided by the Rutherford County Veterans Honor Guard. Again, that's Harry F. Black. James Lee Davis, 82 of Forest City, died Monday, September the 13th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. The funeral service will be held 2 o'clock today at Crestview Baptist Church. Burial will follow in the Eternal Hills Memorial Park. Family will receive friends following the graveside service at the cemetery. Paget and King Mortuary is in charge of the arrangements for James Davis. June Sims, age 67 of Forest City, died Monday, September the 13th at Rutherford Regional. The funeral will be held 11 o'clock Saturday in the Paget at King Chapel. Burial will follow in Eternal Hills Memorial Park. The family will receive friends from 5 until 7 this evening at Paget and King. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for June Sims. David Ray Cummins, Sr., age 84 of Greenville, South Carolina, died Monday morning, September the 13th. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service has been entrusted with the arrangements, and there will be a memorial service in Greenville at Crestview Baptist Church in Fountain Inn. Graveside service at Aden Cemetery in Illinois, Saturday, September the 18th. Again, that's David Ray Cummings, Sr. Ronald Dean Connor, age 74, passed away Tuesday, September the 14th. Services will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday at Rutherford County Memorial Park, Chase High Road, Forest City. Family will receive friends following the graveside service. Ronald will lie in state from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Friday today at Crow's Mortuary. Again, that's Ronald Dean Connor. Farron Murray, age 63 of Pinehurst Road, Ellenboro, died Monday, September 13th. Graveside service will be held at 3 o'clock Saturday at Joshua Baptist Church Cemetery. The family will receive friends from 1:30 until 2:30 Saturday at Paget and King. Paget King in charge of the arrangements for Farron Murray. Mark Von Curry, age 63, passed away Monday, August 30th There will be a gathering in memory of Mark at Mike Mahan's funeral home from 1 until 3, Saturday, September the 18th. And Mike Mahan's funeral home and cremation service in charge of those arrangements for Mark Von Curry. John Littlejohn III, age 44, of Ellenboro, passed away Tuesday, September the 14th at Adrian Health Cleveland in Shelby. A memorial service will be conducted at 3 o'clock Sunday at Piney Mountain Baptist Church. The family will be receiving friends from 4 until 6 on Saturday at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service, serving the family of John Littlejohn III. Zachary Mark Moore, age 60, of Rock Hill, South Carolina, passed away Tuesday, September the 14th. Memorial services will be held Monday, September the 20th in the Chapel of Harrelson Funeral Home. Burial and receiving of friends will follow in the Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service entrusted with those arrangements for Zachary Mark Moore. Peggy Dyer, age 75, passed away Tuesday, September the 7th, while being cared for at the Accordius Health Rutherford. No services are scheduled at this time for Peggy Dyer in Crow's Mortuary, assisting the family.
Are hammered. The far left runs social media, as we all know, and any deviation away from progressive conformity can bring instant punishment from the Twitter trolls. The truth is that COVID probably did come from the Wuhan lab. That's not an outrageous opinion. There is plenty of circumstantial evidence to back it up. But the leftists don't want China blamed, so Jon Stewart better shut up. Back in 2012, when I debated Stewart, we could have some laughs while we disagreed about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not anymore. Today, the net is a cyber demolition derby full of emotionally damaged sadists who live for smear opportunities. Jon Stewart's coming back to TV, but he seems bewildered by the changing landscape. He better wise up fast. Political discourse has devolved into the 7 rings of hell. Now this. Investors, Bill O'Reilly here. Are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer payouts of 10% annualized returns plus bonuses up to 21%. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
The music's on us. WCAB.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
On September 14, 1901, with the death of President William McKinley, his vice president, Theodore Roosevelt, was sworn in as the 26th President of the United States. Roosevelt was a very unlikely man to become the leader of our country. It was just 17 years earlier that a double tragedy struck. Within a 12-hour period, both his wife and his mother died. Trying to get as far away from Washington as possible and abandoning his political career, Roosevelt went to the Badlands of the Dakota Territory to become a rancher. Although he never made money as a rancher, the experience did change his life. He never looked like a cowboy, but he had the soul of a cowboy and gained the respect of his fellow ranchers. When a gang stole his riverboat, he went after them and weeks later brought them to justice. A bully tried to make Roosevelt buy him a drink by calling him Four Eyes. Roosevelt proceeded to punch him out. After 3 years as a rancher, Roosevelt returned to Washington with a new zeal for life. He later said were it not for the experience in the West, he would not have had the drive to become the President of the United States. Roosevelt's Western experience installed in him an appreciation of the natural beauty of the West and the need to preserve it for future generations. While President, Roosevelt preserved 230 million acres of national forest land, and he doubled the number of national parks, including Yosemite. Although Theodore Roosevelt lived back east, he was always a Westerner at heart. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Put Jesse James Railroad Express on your lunch calendar. He has a menu chocked full of fresh cooked burgers, fresh salads, hot dogs made any way you like, taco salads, specialty burgers, sandwiches, french fries, or onion rings. Enjoy refreshing milkshakes, Coke floats, or a cone of hand-dipped ice cream. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue, Ruthverton. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only. Hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
This Friday morning call-around news report on WCAB is underway. Let's stop first at the Sheriff's Department. And Officer Brendel, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank goodness it's finally Friday, friend.
Yes, sir.
What's on the report today?
Past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has answered 139 calls, processed 6 arrests, and currently have 207 in the county jail. Under our arrest reports, we have a Julian Chase Roberts, 26-year-old white male of Cleveland County. Was charged with 1 count of identity theft and 1 count of attempting to obtain property by false pretense. No bond listed at this time. We have a Rashad Carson, 27-year-old black male, Far City, charged with false bomb report, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a Ole Eugene McDaniel Jr., 54-year-old white male of Mooresboro, charged with failure to register as a sex offender, given a $2,500 secure bond. We have a Michael Anthony Proctor, 39-year-old white male of Rutherford, charged with 4 counts of felony possession of stolen goods, 1 count of possession with intent to sell, deliver methamphetamine, and 8 counts of a true bill of indictment, given a $30,000 secure bond. We have a Timothy Edward Sarton, 51-year-old white male of Rutherford, charged with 1 count of possession of methamphetamine, 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia, and served with a true bill of indictment, given a $10,000 secure bond. We have a Pauline Michelle Melton, 30-year-old white female of Ellenboro, served with a failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $3,500 secure bond. We have a Ronnie Lee Huffman, 39-year-old white male of Kinley, North Carolina, served with a warrant for possession of a controlled substance inside of prison, given no bond at this time. Under our incident reports, we have a Dana Whitmire of Scruggs Road reported a financial card fraud. We have a Shirley Lowry of Rutherford reported a financial card fraud. We have Shelba Sinclair from Bostic reported a breaking and entering. We have a Mary Donovan from Whitesides Road in Far City reported damaged personal property. That's all we have this morning.
Officer Brundle, thank you very much for that report, and you be safe out there this weekend.
Yes, sir. You take care.
See you. 19 minutes after 7. 911 Communications Center next.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as the spring and summer colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Coopers Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
And here's Jessica now to give us the update from 911 Communications Center. Jessica, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. What's on the report?
In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 518 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 74 EMS calls, 27 for rescue. Law enforcement Sheriff's Office responded to 139. Forest City to 80, Lake Lure to 4, Rutherfordton to 39, Spindale to 57. Fire calls Rutherfordton respond to a residential fire alarm, Sandy Mush to a vehicle accident, SDO to a residential fire alarm, and Spindale to a vehicle accident. And that's all we've got today.
Thanks so much. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
911 Communication was our last call. We're stepping up now and going down the roadways to the SDO Fire District, and that's where we'll find Ruby Taylor this morning. Good morning, Ruby.
Good morning.
It's finally Friday.
Yep, it's Friday.
I heard you say yesterday afternoon you've been working kind of hard. What you been doing, cleaning your yard up?
Well, that and sewing, that's one thing and another.
Something to keep you busy, though, huh?
Yep, that's what I like.
Good. What's on the report today?
Well, the fire department had a residential fire alarm. And on my birthday counter, I've got Mike Keller, Donald Haynes having birthdays, and Mr. and Mrs. Keith Willis is having anniversary today. Hope these people have a nice day. Tomorrow, Billy Wells, Cheryl Godfrey, and Samantha Carpenter's having birthdays tomorrow. Hope they have a nice day. And then Sunday, Lauren Haynes, Frida Husky, Lynn Melton, Kenny Maloney, and Terry Morgan having birthdays Sunday, and hope they have a nice day. Signs are in the legs today, going to the feet tomorrow and Sunday, and that's all I got, Jim.
I appreciate it, Ruby. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
Thank you, Andrew Tisdale. You could hear Andrew live in the Blue Room on Tuesday mornings at 8:05. Talk about making sense of our finances. Tonight is high school football Friday night. RS Central at Hendersonville is our game of the week. 7 o'clock countdown, 7:30 kickoff. And Mr. Friday Night will be with us after 8 o'clock this morning to talk about Friday night lineup and what it looks like for the rest of the season. Here's Bob Hodge now reporting from the Hudlow Fire District on this Friday morning. Bob, how's it looking over there?
Well, everything's looking good up here on Friday morning. That sun looked like it's fixing to come up this morning up here. And weather's right nice this morning. Kind of cool out there.
Yeah, feels
getting
good.
A little, look like all next week we'll be getting a little touch of fall coming in. And be a little cooler, and next thing you know, we're going to have to wear a coat. Oh, but it's that time of the year, and it's time to get a little cooler there.
I think a lot of folks are ready for it. Summer's been kind of warm and humid, so I think folks are beginning to, I like a little break in that now. Let's have a little cool weather.
Well, everybody likes a little break, a little change of the weather, I guess. That's the reason we have 4 seasons there. I don't believe I'd like to live anywhere where it was just warm all the time or
cold all the time. I'm with you
That's
there.
right.
I'm with you there. I like a change of 4 seasons. We live in a great part of the world, don't we?
That's right. Well, I'm up here with the fire department. We've answered 1 medical call overnight. That's about it with the fire department. And birthdays for Sundays, Billy Samuels and Charles Street. And also the Mount Vernon Community Club is having a country ham and chicken pie supper this Saturday at the Mount Vernon Clubhouse. That starts at 4:30 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. It'll be drive-through only due to the virus. And have country ham, chicken pie, green beans, slaw, grits, and biscuits. And Jim, that's about it up here in our I hope you have a real good weekend.
Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate the report. That supper sure sounds mighty good, doesn't it?
Well, that makes you hungry, don't it?
I'll tell you, it's worth driving through to pick that up for sure.
That's right.
Enjoy your weekend, Bob. You and Imogene have a good one.
Well, you too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Excuse me, this coffee looks small.
That's our new large. The new large size is our old tall size, and the new tall is the old small.
So this is your small?
Nope, that's a new large, like you ordered.
Right.
These days, everything seems smaller. So we're going bigger with the Bigger Spin from the North Carolina Education Lottery. New scratch-offs with a chance at a live spin on the Bigger Spin prize wheel for 2 million big ones. And that's huge. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.62. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
The Braves were they got rained out, actually. The Braves game was rained out yesterday, so they have to reschedule that one, and they didn't get very far. I think they might have played a little bit. But they'll have to reschedule that, and we'll keep you posted. So our next Braves games actually will be, Sunday against the Giants. Now we have UNC football against Virginia on Saturday, high school football tonight, UNC tomorrow, and Braves on Sunday. So sports lineup, you got 3 varieties there, 3 choices. The best sports is right here.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
We're unable to get in touch with Gary Wilson this morning up at the Fairfield Mountains Fire District. Phone may be disconnected up there, maybe something going on, but we are unable to get to him, so we'll skip over the Fairfield Mountains report this morning and go straight over to the Cherry Mountain Fire District. We will not pass go, and we will not collect $200, but we will talk with Sue Price. Good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
You doing all right today?
I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
Good. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department. Don't have any birthdays or anniversaries, or my church calendar, my personal calendar. I don't have any on Fairview's, so. But on, let's see, First Pro doesn't have one for today, but she asked that I'd announce today that tomorrow there'll be an anniversary for Calvin and Brenda Hall, so I hope they'll have a good day. And in my announcements, the Dunkins Creek Church will not be having service Sunday. It's been called off, so everybody keep that in mind, and hopefully we'll get back pretty soon. Maybe this virus will get settled down one of these days, we hope.
I sure hope so.
No, it's been bad. Been a lot of deaths and sicknesses, so we just keep all these folks in prayer that's been affected with it. And as far as I know, Jim, that's all I have this morning. It's just quiet and calm over here, looking for a good day and a good weekend, and I hope you and the family have one.
Thanks, Sue. You enjoy your weekend as well.
All right.
And just a friendly reminder of those of you whose churches are canceling services due to the COVID and you're not having Sunday services, the expenses of the church continue and the responsibilities of the financial obligations continue, so don't forget to get your offerings and your tithes into the churches, even though you may not be meeting on Sunday morning. They do continue. They don't stop the bills just because the church is not operating. 7:31, and we'll get to our next phone call here right after we do this.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
7:32, our temperature is 67 degrees, and it's still cloudy here, but the sun will be peeking through here pretty soon, I believe. Let's head up now to Shingle Hollow District to get a report from the fire district up there, and here is Tina. Tina, are you the ballerina?
No, not a ballerina. Just reporting today, that's all. Good morning from Shingle Hollow on this fantastic, fabulous, fun-filled Friday.
I like that.
It's 67 degrees on the porch. It's not too cloudy right here where I am. I'm looking out, and like you said, the sun is starting to peek over my neighbor's house. And it is a day to celebrate up here in Shingle Hollow, apparently, because there's birthdays. Piney Knob Baptist Church has Brent Hill, Dylan Griffey, Grady Rhodes, and Katie McIntyre, and an anniversary for James and Debbie Haynes. And Pilgrim's Way has a birthday for Susan Ledford, so I hope everybody celebrate big today on this Friday. Maybe they can have a good long birthday weekend and anniversary weekend. Fire departments were very quiet. There were no calls for Green Hill or Shingle Hollow. Very thankful for that. And today, Shingle Hollow Campground, they're having a women's conference, and it starts at 3 p.m., $25 at the door, and they will have an evening meal, breakfast in the morning and lunch, and there will be women speakers all throughout this evening and tomorrow. So, anybody interested in that, it'd be fun. That's all I got.
All right. Well, I hope it's well attended by the lady folks in this area. I'm sure it will be a nice occasion.
I'm sure it will be, too. Are you planning? Do you have big plans for the weekend?
I do. Yeah, I've got a big thing tonight. I've got to MC, and then tomorrow I got several friends' funerals that I'm going to try to pay my respects at tomorrow, so it'll be a busy day, sad day tomorrow. But other than that, just routine, whatever fate tells me to do, I'll do.
I'm ready for the funerals to stop being so frequent.
Well, me too. Me too.
But I know God has a plan, and I don't have to understand it. I just have to have faith that it's His plan, and that's what I try to do.
Well, it is sort of sad to have so many obituaries, so many on our reports, but it's sad to have so many that you know and are friends.
Mhm. It's just sad to lose. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really is. But this too will pass.
I hope so. And I hope we do have a good weekend. And I plan to talk to you on Monday.
All right, Tina, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Everybody safe out there now.
Everybody be safe out there, she said. And I'm sure you will. It's 7:35, and we're going to Upstate Union Mills in just a moment.
Hey, folks, you know, Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse-quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, and Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled A-R-Y-E-E. Never seen a company so versatile in their ways to help people, but it's just so down to earth and friendly and warm and helpful. So contact them, A-R-Y-E-E. They're right there in Spindale. Now we're upstate Union Mills, up the hill to the top of the hill, and here's Brenda Kelly. Good morning, Brenda Kelly.
Good morning, Jim Bishop. How are you on this fabulous Friday morning?
It's a wonderful day, and I feel good.
I hear you.
You doing okay?
I am. I'm doing fine. I feel good, so
Good.
I'm up and about, so that's the main thing.
That's a good blessing.
And sorry to hear about your friends that has passed. That is a sad thing.
Yeah.
But it's good that we can go and show our respect and support the family.
Well, yeah, it is. I try when I can. I try to do that, but sometimes there's so many of them and they cluster together. It's hard to get around. But our thoughts and prayers with all those folks who are experiencing loss of loved ones, fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters and sons and daughters. It's run the whole gamut. It looks like here recently.
I know it. I know. I had a time in my life when it was just one of my family members right after the other. I mean, we couldn't get out of the funeral home and back home and even think about recovering until it was somebody else. So I know what they're going through, and I hope that they can weather through this okay.
I think we've had the most obituaries this past couple of weeks that we've ever had at one time.
I think one morning you had 21, if I counted correct.
That's right.
That's right. I'll tell you, it's something else. But the Lord knows best.
And in the mornings, like I just do the highlights, just the death announcements, and middays they do the entire obituary. So it takes a long time to get all those in. But we do that for the benefit of the families and friends who want to know everything. So we try to do the full obituaries at 11:35, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon report. But in the mornings, I just do the highlights, and it requires a lot of time even to do that. But we're happy to be doing that as a public service to our listeners.
We can be in the know.
That's exactly right.
Well, let's see. I've got 64 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries for today. And the only announcement I've got is no bingo Saturday the 18th at the Gilchrist School Community Center due to COVID. They've called that off. So far, that's all I know of going on. So it's just short, sweet, and quiet up here, and we like it like that.
You enjoy bingo, don't you?
I love bingo, but I'm the most unlucky person at bingo, but I love to play it.
Yeah. I've played it a few times over my life as a kid. Even we played the kids' version of bingo and church function like that. But I have very few times ever in my life been able to say bingo.
I know it. That's me. It's something else. And I can remember when they used to have the county fair down there where the health department and all that is years ago. My mama, she loved it. And I had a cousin. He's since passed away. He lived up north. And he'd come down and take my mama, and they'd sit down and play bingo. And Mama would win all kind of stuff. I mean, back then they give you nice gifts. She'd win blankets and lamps and I did all kind of stuff. And me, no, I can't win. Once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I played 3 cards at one time and still didn't win.
Oh, Lord, I can't play 3 cards at one time. I can do one, maybe 2, and that's it. But it's fun to play.
It is. I think they usually, I guess they will this year. I think they usually have bingo over at the Ellenboro Fair.
That's just what and it's about time for it, ain't it?
Starts next week, next Tuesday night.
Yeah. I know Luther will be over there, and he'll be eating funnel cakes and all them good cakes that them Ellenboro Homemaker Club has down there and all that.
He will, yeah. That's
yeah. But I guess you better go check on him and see if Ellenboro's still down there.
You have a wonderful weekend.
Catch you later.
Thanks. Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Imagine being surrounded by comfort. At Immaculate Heating and Air Conditioning, they offer ultimate home comfort by Coleman. They will install a Coleman high-efficiency heating and cooling system and handle any service and maintenance, all for one low monthly payment with zero out-of-pocket costs for 10 years. That's right, 10 years with no service or repair fees, no maintenance fees, no unexpected cost at all. Ultimate home comfort. It's more comfort all around. Contact Nathan Blackburn at 828-755-5788. That's 755-5788, or visit ImmaculateHeatingandAir.com. Good folks over there, good folks. Let's do business with them. They're right here locally. 7:42 now. We're headed over toward east of here. A little ways over there as we row our boats to Luther Gilligan's place in Ellenboro. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. I hope you're having a good day.
So my day's off to a fabulous start. How about you?
Mine too. Well, I'm sure waiting on the sun to come up.
Well, it'll be here.
Yeah, hey, I'll be here too. We'll get out here. We're going to have a good time today. We'll get out here and go to work, get full of coffee and all that. We'll be ready to go. But it's quiet down here this morning. Nothing going on. The fire department had a quiet day yesterday and quiet last night. We didn't have any kind of calls at all. So it was a good day down here yesterday, a good night. People got to sleep all night, didn't have to get up. And nothing going on this morning. So, again, you have a great day up there. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
I'll see you then. Have a good one.
All right, take care now.
That's Luther Gilligan reporting from Ellenboro, from the fire district over there. As I mentioned the other day, starting Monday morning, we'll have a new reporter on, be from the Bostic Fire District. We'll add that one to our circle of friends and keep posted on what's happening in that beautiful little section of our county. That starts Monday morning right here on the Morning Report. Now it's time for birthdays and anniversaries for the 17th day of September, Friday the 17th. If you are celebrating a birthday, we'd love to hear from you. And we want to say we're being kind today to E.L. and Lois Whiteside, 66 years, both retired, live in Spindale. So happy anniversary to them. Now call yours in at 287-3356. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. That's really something to crow about. It's the Daylight Donuts from Granny B's in Spindale. Get yours today while they're fresh. They're good. They're delicious. It's Daylight Donuts. It's something to crow about. And you can get your donuts early. They're open at 6:30 now to give you an opportunity to take some donuts to work with you. These delicious Daylight Donuts. And don't forget, for the weekend, get your pizzas ordered. And that'll be a great pizza. You'll never go back to the others once you've had a pizza from Granny B's. And when you want your clothes looking good, you'll take them to Folks Cleaners. They'll make sure it's done right. They do professional work, and you'll have a great opportunity to feel good about your clothes because you know they've been done professionally. That's Folks Cleaners. They're at Rockwood Plaza in Forest City. They have limited hours now, so check the hours. They're open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full schedule, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays on a shorter day. So please check on that before you leave over there. Happy birthday. Well, happy birthday to Shirley Campbell, 75 today. Bruce Lancaster's having a birthday. Dexter Street, she's also celebrating a birthday. And we're being kind to E.L. and Lois Whiteside. It's their 66-year anniversary. Both retired, live in Spindale. So we want to wish them a happy, happy anniversary. Many more happy returns to E.L. and Lois Whiteside. Great celebration for them. And if you know them, give them a call and congratulate them on this, their big day. Now coming up, keys to another birthday, John McGinnis. Birthday is Sunday. All right, John, happy birthday coming up on Sunday. Keys to Confident Living coming up here in just a moment. Following that, we'll take you down memory lane for some classic oldies. And 8:05 this morning, Mr. Friday Night will be on the radio with us, talking about tonight's lineup of exciting high school football action.
good is wealth if you don't use it? I'm not talking about using all of one's life savings when that savings will be needed, but how much accumulation is enough? Back in the 20s and 30s, John G. Wendell and his 6 sisters lived miserly lives while building an estate of over $100 million. John influenced 5 of his 6 sisters not to marry and to keep all of their wealth to themselves. They inherited a sizable amount from their parents, but they continued to accumulate and hoard all they received, not sharing any of it with others, not even on themselves. When the last sister died, she was wearing the only dress she owned and had worn for the last 25 years. They had a lot of money, but they lived like paupers. They had stored up, as Jesus said, treasures for themselves, but were not rich towards God. God's system of wealth uses phrases like give and it will be given to you in accordance with what you have given, or refresh others and you too will be refreshed, or give back to God and He will pour so many blessings on you that you will not be able to contain them. These ideas are counterintuitive, the opposite of what a person would normally think, but people who have tried them find them to work. But remember, wealth is not always measured in dollars and cents. An anonymous person said, "Measure wealth not by the things that you have, but by the things that you have for which you would not take money." Now that is true wealth. And this is Bill Hostler with today's key to confident living.
The music's on us.
Ryan says it's over 9,000.
Thousands of migrants, many from Haiti, are camped out under the International Bridge in Del Rio, Texas, with one goal in mind: to surrender to Customs and Border Protection to begin the asylum process. Congressman Tony Gonzalez.
This is as bad as I've ever seen it. There is no southern border. It's pure chaos.
Customs is sending additional agents to the area. The state of Texas is sending in National Guard and state police to help manage the growing tent city.
An FDA advisory panel meets today to discuss whether people should get a coronavirus vaccine booster. Dr. Ashish Jha, the dean of the Brown University School of Public Health, says eventual authorization is likely, but the question is for which groups. He says immunocompromised people are likely to get them first, but it's less clear for younger, healthier people.
At some point in 2022, I can imagine most Americans who are not in those high-risk groups probably will need a booster.
Thursday, President Biden said he's not backing down despite the threat of lawsuits from state attorneys general regarding vaccine mandates.
The president fighting Republican pushback about his COVID vaccine mandates.
The governors of Florida and Texas are doing everything they can to undermine the life-saving requirements that I proposed.
The White House and legal experts pointing to court decisions that have in the past supported mandatory vaccinations. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Fencing back up around the Capitol ahead of Saturday's planned rally in support of people arrested following the January 6th riot. And Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair General Mark Milley told the Associated Press that phone calls he made to his Chinese counterpart during the final months of the Trump administration were, quote, perfectly within the duties and responsibilities of his job, following reports from a forthcoming book called Peril. You're listening to ABC News.
For eligible individuals 18 or older only, not available in Oregon or West Virginia. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With hearing aids from Lively, everything is done remotely in the comfort of your home, from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. With Lively, you get premium Bluetooth-enabled hearing aids at thousands less than you'd might expect. The best hearing aid technology is now affordable and convenient. Your hearing aids are sent right to your door. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge. Ah, you people at Lively are wonderful. With Lively hearing aids, you get free shipping, 3 years of follow-up care included free, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage. You can't lose. I hear better than I ever thought possible. Now get $100 off your hearing aids when you go to listenlively.com/radio. That's listenlively.com/radio. listenlively.com/radio.
The FBI is now involved in the search for Gabby Petito, the 22-year-old last seen in Utah while on a cross-country trip with her boyfriend. Brian Laundrie is now considered a person of interest in the case, says ABC's Trevor Alt.
Gabby Petito was last seen August 24th, checking out of a hotel with Laundrie in Salt Lake City, Utah. Her mother says the next day was the last time she spoke with Gabby, who told her they were in Grand Teton, Wyoming, on their way to Yellowstone. Then on September 1st, Laundrie returned to their home back in Florida in their van alone.
And so far, he has refused to cooperate with investigators. Great Britain says it's getting ready to ease COVID-19 travel restrictions.
After the chilling effect of months and months of restrictive measures, Britain may soon be coming out of the travel fog. But as Cabinet Minister George Eustice cautions,
we do also need to be, mindful and vigilant against new variants coming in. We have done incredibly well with our vaccination program. It's enabled us to open things up again.
Among the areas being considered, fewer countries on the banned travel list and scrapping or modifying the requirement for double vaccinated people coming to the UK to take PCR tests. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
Southwest Airlines says workers who get their COVID-19 vaccine shots will get 2 days' worth of bonus pay to show up in paychecks just before the holidays. This is ABC News.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for a VIP pro football getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Your Friday forecast, looking for mostly cloudy conditions with rain showers possibly. On a slight chance of rain this afternoon. Highs around 81 for today with a chance of thunderstorms developing. Tonight looks like partly cloudy skies with some isolated thunderstorms, but only about a 20% chance of that happening. Saturday and Sunday looks pretty good too. There may be an off and on shower with some thunderclouds developing Saturday afternoon and again on Sunday. But overall the weather's looking pretty good, so enjoy the weekend. And right now the sun is beginning to peak out with 68 degrees currently here, according to Peter the meter reader. And again, we want to salute E.L. and Lois Whiteside on their 66 years anniversary today. Both retired, live in Spindale, and we're celebrating their anniversary today right here on WCAB in Rutherfordton. Well, it's Friday night, and exciting times happen around here on Friday nights. And I don't know anybody better to tell us all about it than Mr. Friday Night himself, Jay Coombs. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Jim.
I hope you're feeling well and happy today.
Ready for week 5, believe it or not.
Week 5.
Week 5 of the high school football season, and looking forward to a good road trip tonight. How about that?
Well, I'm glad you can still travel.
Yeah. I won't give a free plug for a non-advertiser, but let's just say Cliff and I are heading up to Hendersonville tonight, RS Central at Hendersonville, and we are leaving early because we have been thinking all week long about a really, really good steak dinner, and there is a particular favorite of ours in Hendersonville. So before tonight's game, we are going to be very well fed. If you hear any burps or if we should happen to doze off during the game, you can blame it on the fact that we are going to eat very well before tonight's broadcast.
Oh, I'm glad for you.
Speaking of which, for most of our teams, this week will be their first conference game. Now, that does not include everybody, but for most of the teams, this week, tonight, will be the first conference matchup. Now, we do have one team tonight has an open date. They do not play, and wow, Chase is 4-0. Trojans undefeated, but they have tonight off. They will not play. The Trojans actually have one more non-conference game next week. The week they were originally scheduled to play at East Rutherford. And, of course, we know East not fielding a varsity team this year. Chase, has rescheduled, and they will play a non-conference game next week up at McDowell. And then the Trojans begin conference play 2 weeks from tonight, also up at Hendersonville. Now, our matchup tonight is a conference game. The new Mountain Foothills 7 Conference, RS Central tonight. Hilltoppers are 0-2, travel up to Hendersonville. Bearcats are very good. They are 3-1 and picked by many to be possibly the conference champions. I know a couple of other teams have a lot to say about that, but Hendersonville certainly the front runner going into this conference battle. Now, I don't think we've really seen what the Hilltoppers can do. Obviously, they played back on August 20th. That was the game they lost by 6 points up McDowell, but they had already been hit with COVID. They had 8 players who did not make that game, including several starting players. Also had some players who were under the weather. They certainly were nowhere near full strength. Well, then they had a couple of off weeks because of the COVID protocol. Last week, they had a home game, lost by 20 to Alexander Central. But Alexander Central, much larger, a 4A school, and to be quite honest, the Hilltoppers didn't have any time to prepare or know what to expect from the Cougars because they scheduled the game last Thursday, one day before they played. A good test, but I still don't think we have seen the potential of this year's Hilltoppers team. So I'm looking forward to the matchup tonight. Kickoff. We'll take to the air. Countdown to kickoff at 7 o'clock, RS Central at Hendersonville. There is one game in the county tonight. Thomas Jefferson Classical Academy Griffins, they are 2-0, undefeated, and they start conference play tonight in Avondale, hosting the Yellow Jackets of Bessemer City. Now, Bessemer City is 1-3, coming off their only win of the season this past week. They beat Christ the King 36-8. This is going to be a good matchup tonight for the Griffins. Certainly like their opportunity and chances to improve to 3-0 and also to get their first conference win. A couple of JV games were played last night. Got to send a big shout-out. Congratulations. Coach Josh Wilson is having some good luck out at East Rutherford. The East JV team defeating Brevard last night 22-6. So great win for the Cavaliers. And quite a game last night between the Chase and Crest JV teams. Chase actually jumped out 18-0 over Crest, but then the Chargers came back in the second half. They ended up winning 28-18. But first loss of the season for the Chase JV team. So both JV and varsity teams out at Chase having a really, really good start to the season. Now, there are a lot of other area games of interest tonight. We'll try to bring you up to date and keep you up to date with those a little bit later in the day and during the broadcast tonight. Fans, once again, I do encourage you, keep in touch. It is not impossible that we could have some cancellations or postponements even as late as this afternoon because of the COVID problems. A lot of schools are being affected. I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but certainly doing battle with the virus, and things do tend to change almost a minute-to-minute basis.
Well, I'm glad you're staying healthy and able to continue carrying on, traveling up the road to do games. So continue to stay healthy, you and Cliff.
I try. My biggest problem is my left ankle right now. I can't even. I got into some fire ants.
Oh no!
And, oh yeah.
Oh man.
And
been there, done that.
I knew immediately that I had been bit, and then I waited. Thought, I'd get over it. Had a doctor's appointment back on Monday anyway, and when she looked at my ankle, she said, well, yes, you did get bites. She said, the bites are not your problem. She said, the infection as a result of the bites is your problem.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I'm taking a lot of antibiotics right now, so if I zone out a little bit tonight, I'll just blame it on those pills.
Well, I think probably after you've had that big steak, you'll probably feel a lot better.
I think that big steak and big loaded baked potato, I think it's going to make me feel a whole lot better.
Oh, my goodness. I hear you. Well, listen, I appreciate you. Thank you for the job you do, and you and Cliff always do a great job on Friday nights. And we'll listen to the game, and we can listen to online on YouTube at www.wcab59.com. And you also have another source where they can listen and watch, right?
Oh, yeah. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. And it's simple. It's WCAB Football, both places. You type that in now. I keep up with the Twitter, but I do not have time during the games to give you a running play-by-play on Twitter. Cliff is able to keep up much better on Facebook during the game itself. So if you're looking for constant updates, of course, my best advice would be if you want constant updates, you need to be tuned in to the broadcast. But if you cannot, for some reason, either listen on air, follow us streaming online, then certainly follow Cliff on Facebook, and you can keep up with the action that way.
Is there any way we can send a camera into the steakhouse with you and Cliff while you're enjoying that big steak and baked potato and sort of watch you indulge in that?
You know, we could probably live stream that, but I just don't know how interesting it would be sitting there watching Jay and Cliff eat steak. But
well, we'll pass on that one then.
Yeah, some folks may find that entertaining. You never know nowadays, but I think I'd just be jealous.
Jay, thanks so much for the report, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy the game tonight. We'll be listening and watching on WCAB.
Countdown to kickoff tonight at 7 o'clock.
See you, Jay.
Thanks, Jim.
Jay Coombs reporting in, Mr. Friday Night, all about the games tonight. 16 minutes now past 8 o'clock, and we have a few stories from here and there.
You need an insurance agent you can talk to? Call Insurance Service Associates at 828-245-5301. We want to help you get the best out of your insurance dollar. As a trusted choice independent agent, we shop your coverage with several companies to give you the best value. More companies, better choices, best rate. Come see us at our new office at 245 East Main Street in Forest City, or call us at 828-245-5301.
Well, I fell down on my job a little bit this morning. I failed to record the sheriff's report during the call and run report. We always record that and then play it back at this time for those folks who don't get to catch it during the 7 o'clock hour. Then we'll play it back in the 5 o'clock hour for folks who just tuning in there. So I failed to get it recorded. So I'll go out behind the barn and you can lash me with the lashes, about 30 licks, and that'll improve. I just didn't do it. Too many things going on, I guess, but we'll do better next time. But Officer Brandel did a good job on that report this morning, and we like to play it back again and then a third time in the afternoon. But I did not do my job very well this morning, so I guess I just need the weekend off and go cry a little bit and play a pitiful pity party thing. Let's look at some stories from here and there. Down in Gaffney, Cherokee County, a man drowned late Thursday afternoon at a private lake in Cherokee County. According to Channel 7 News, is reporting this story, and the coroner's office, the victim and friends were on a private lake on Wild Turkey Drive off of Myrtle Drive shortly after 6 p.m. when the drowning happened. The coroner said the victim, Quentin Jamar Pridgett of Spartanburg, jumped into the water from a docked pontoon boat into 8 to 10 feet of water. Pridgett then surfaced and called for help, but a friend who rushed to the lake was unable to save him. According to the coroner, crews from the CKC Fire Department were able to recover Pritchett's body just after 7:30 p.m. An autopsy will be performed as part of the investigation into his death, according to the coroner down in Gaffney. Meanwhile, a man who was prohibited from buying a gun because of a prior conviction has pleaded guilty to getting his girlfriend to buy one for him. A federal prosecutor in North Carolina said Travis Shaquan Fair, 31 of Asheville, went to a gun dealer in June of 2019 and discussed buying a cheap gun with a store worker. Acting U.S. Attorney William T. Setzer said in a news release, Courtney Nichelle Shivers, 29 of Asheville, went to the same store to buy the gun for Fair. According to Setzer, Shivers falsely certified on required forms that she was the buyer when she actually was buying it at Fair's request for him to use. On Wednesday, when his trial was scheduled to begin, Fair pleaded guilty to illegal possession of a firearm. Shivers already pleaded guilty to making a false statement in connection with purchasing a firearm. Fair faces up to 10 years in prison at sentencing. Shivers could receive a maximum of 5 years in prison. Also, Stetzer says charges are pending against 3 other people accused of illegally buying firearms. 2 of the suspects are from Charlotte area. Well, police officers violated civil rights law when they forced a blind man and his service dog to leave a mall and threatened to arrest him for trespassing if he didn't. according to a lawsuit filed by a North Carolina advocacy group. Chris Hodgkin, an attorney for disability rights in North Carolina and lead attorney in the case, said civil rights are severely weakened when police departments treat blind shoppers as trespassers based on the store's discriminatory desire to have them removed for using a guide dog. When this happens, shoppers are doubly discriminated against, first by the stores and then by the police department that fail to respect and uphold rights we guarantee to our blind citizenry. Although mall security officers said Olivia had a right to have the dog inside the store, responding officers with the Winston-Salem Police Department told Olivia he could either leave the store with a warning or be arrested, handcuffed, and charged with trespassing, according to the lawsuit. Olivia's attorney sent a response to the city in late March reiterating its obligation to avoid discrimination regarding the blind man and his dog. Meanwhile, over in Durham, charges have been filed against a North Carolina man who authorities say splashed a deputy with paint thinner. The Durham County Sheriff's Office said in a news release that deputies responding to a domestic dispute ordered two men to end the argument late Wednesday night. According to the news release, Derek Anthony Simmons, 26, picked up a small can of paint thinner and threw it at the car belonging to the person he was arguing with. The paint thinner splashed into the deputy's eyes, mouth, and nose, as well as onto his arms and service uniform. The emergency personnel arrived and treated the deputy at the scene. Simmons was charged with assault on a government official and released from jail on a secured bond, and that case moves forward. Meanwhile, U.S. Representative Madison Cawthorn won't be charged by the Henderson County Sheriff's Office for having a knife on school property earlier this week, according to the Public Information Officer, Johnny Duncan. North Carolina 11th District candidate Jake Carey shared photos on social media of a knife tucked underneath the seat of Cawthorn's wheelchair during a Henderson County Board of Education September 13th meeting. Those folks are running to get him defeated, seem to follow him everywhere he goes and making pictures and doing everything they can to find out when he makes a mistake. The Super PAC FireMadison.com posted a picture of the handle next to an image of a knife made by Mills River Company Microtech. The handle looks the same as Microtech's SBD knife. Duncan wrote in the news release, although unacceptable, occasionally a person inadvertently possesses a knife on educational property or other property where such possession is prohibited. In another weapon incident earlier this year, Cawthorn attempted to board a plane February 13th at Asheville Regional Airport when Transportation Security Administration workers found an unloaded gun in his carry-on case, along with a loaded magazine, according to airport officials. Additionally, Cawthorn said he was armed inside the U.S. Capitol during the building's January 6th storming by supporters of former President Donald Trump. As for the school board's incident, under state law, officers are allowed to use discretion concerning most misdemeanor offenses, according to Duncan. Weapons are prohibited on all school campuses and properties owned and operated by school systems in North Carolina. This crowd who are looking to find things they can put against him, they're just. I'm wondering if they're following him to restaurants, and if he happens to drop a crumb on his shirt, if they're reporting that as he's not able to handle his meal, those kind of things. It's going to get pretty ruckus before it's over with. Sports coming up here in just a few moments. As I mentioned, I apologize for not having the sheriff's report back on again, but those things do happen from time to time. Right now, though, let's hear this.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continue to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid-19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Well, it's been a great week here in the Blue Room on WCAB. Thank you for making WCAB your radio station of choice. And join me bright and early Monday morning. And I'll see you around the campus. Stand by for sports update coming up here in a few moments. Your Friday forecast, looking for mostly cloudy conditions with rain showers possibly. On a slight chance of rain this afternoon. Highs around 81 for today with a chance of thunderstorms developing. Tonight looks like partly cloudy skies with some isolated thunderstorms, but only about a 20% chance of that happening. Saturday and Sunday looks pretty good too. There may be an off and on shower with some thunderclouds developing Saturday afternoon and again on Sunday. But overall the weather's looking pretty good, so enjoy the weekend. It's 8:31 WCAB Rutherfordton. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program, and with the program this morning is Greg Sutherland.
Good morning. This is Greg Sutherland. I'd like to welcome you this morning to our program with the Word of Faith Fellowship. And whether you're in Rutherford County, Rutherfordton, Ruth, Forest City, or anywhere around the world, we welcome you. And I'm grateful that you're here this morning. And it's an honor and a privilege that God has allowed me to be here this morning, and I don't take it lightly. You know, it's something that when God puts a call on your life, no matter what it is, when you step into that call, it's everything that you need. It's all the life that you need. It's all the joy that you need. It's everything you need. And if you're not feeling that joy in that life this morning, somewhere you're not walking in the call of God in your life. So God wants to help you this morning and get you ready for that so that you can walk into whatever God has for you. It can be anything. A lot of times we don't know what that is because we don't settle down long enough to really listen to Him and hear what He has to say. And you know, in these days, there's been so much that has changed. I'm over 50 years old now, and that's kind of hard to believe. Sometimes I have to stop and think I'm over 50. But when you look at all that has changed just in my lifetime, from the technology to everything, and then we get down to the last couple of years with the pandemic and the floods and the hurricanes and the earthquakes, it is incredible what has changed in such a rapid period of time. And it seems that the changes are coming more rapidly, quicker, and all of that's pointing to Jesus is coming back. And if that makes you feel fearful this morning, that means your heart's not ready somewhere. And Jesus, He loves us though, and He wants us to get our hearts ready, and that's why He is there to prepare us. God never called us to do anything that He didn't equip us to do. Sometimes we don't see what that is. Sometimes we don't think we can do that. Well, that's true. I can't do it. I can't sit here. You know, as a child, I was extremely fearful of speaking in front of people, of being in front of people. It was nothing but demons after the call of God on my life. Because God has called me, whether it's to sit here in front of you this morning on the radio or the internet, wherever you're listening or watching from, or if it's to talk to you in person, talk to you on the phone, it doesn't matter. There's no reason why I cannot do the will of God on my life. It's just demons that were after me. And so I've learned over the years, Jesus has prepared me to do this. He's called me to be here today, to talk with you, to share with you what He has to say. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with how good I am or how bad I am. It has to do with what God's will is. You know, God always, always, always prepares us. He has always prepared me, and most of the time, I didn't really understand what God was trying to do when He did it. And in God, in His love and His mercy, He prepares us ahead of time, gets us ready. You know, as children, especially small children, many times we don't understand. We go to school and we're learning our alphabet, we're learning our numbers, our multiplication tables, and we don't really understand, what am I going to do with this? As we get older, then we begin to understand this is why we had to do that. Well, God and His love and His mercy starts with us from day one. From the moment we're born, He's working with us, trying to teach us. It's, do we stop and listen and let Him? I can look back now over my life. Like I say, I'm over 50 years old now, and I can see and I could tell you story after story of where God was preparing me. I didn't understand it, didn't know what was going on, but God was getting me ready. And truthfully, we don't need to know what's ahead of us and what God's getting us ready for, because many times we would think about it and cut off the will of God for our lives. That's why God comes and He prepares us a step at a time. You know, when we're 6 years old, we start first grade. Well, God doesn't take us from first grade to 12th grade, from learning your alphabet to algebra and trigonometry and calculus. God takes us a step at a time. We learn our numbers, we learn our addition, we learn our multiplication, and we work through that over the years. Well, God does the very same thing with us. We have to stop, and we have to start realizing and recognizing God is at work God does love me, and he's getting me ready for something. And when you do that, and when you allow that to come into your heart, and you accept that, then you begin to change. And again, you don't understand it right then, but it builds, and you grow, and you mature, and then you end up in a situation, and you look back later, and you can see, God had me prepared. He did this for me. You know, if you look in Acts chapter 16, this is one of my favorite parts of the Bible. It's about Paul and Silas when they were in the Philippian jail. They had been preaching, laying down their lives, and some of the people turned on them, and they ended up in jail. They were beaten, put into stocks, bleeding. They were in bad shape, but they still had life and joy. It says they were singing. It says about midnight, as Paul and Silas were praying and singing, they didn't let it stop them. God had prepared them for this moment. And they didn't know that they were going to be beaten. But you know what? God had gotten their hearts ready. And so you can see that here in the fruit of they were praying and singing hymns of praise to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. So see, that call of God on their life, it always reaches out beyond you and reaches out for who's around you to help them. Think back at the times where people were in your life, and God used them in a lot of ways to help you when you needed it, just when you needed it. Well, God wants to use us the same way. It says in verse 26, of course, there was an earthquake. The prison was rattled. It was shaken. All the doors were open. All the chains fell off of them and the other prisoners. And it says, though, that when the jailer startled out of his sleep, saw that, he drew his sword and was on the point of killing himself, because he knew if those prisoners were set free, he was going to be killed for it. But Paul stopped him. He said, we're all here. Don't hurt yourself. And that jailer opened his heart and let God get to his heart. It says he ran in there with his light, fell down at their feet. He said, men, what is it necessary for me to do that I may be saved? God had already been working in his heart. He may not have realized it, but God was already dealing with him, preparing him, getting him ready. I'm sure he was sitting there listening to Paul and Silas praying and singing, just like the other prisoners were. But God had already been drawing his heart to him. And listen to verse 31, because this is the word of the Lord for that jailer and the word of the Lord for us today. Paul answered him and he said, believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Give yourself up to him. Take yourself out of your keeping and entrust yourself into his keeping, and you will be saved. Now that's powerful. But that's not something that we as human beings can do on our own. That's a choice that we make. That's a choice where we, in our hearts, it's not a head knowledge, it's not a thought, but it's from our heart. We lay down on the inside everything that we know, who we are, what we have been and what we haven't been. And we just lay back in the arms of Jesus and say, Jesus, I entrust myself into your keeping. And then you walk from there in that place of trusting him, because he does know better. We say that a lot of times, comes out of our mouth, but do our lifestyles really show that we have taken ourselves out of our keeping and put ourselves into his keeping? That's what it takes to be saved, and that's not a one-time thing. That's at every moment of every day. Taking yourself out of your keeping, realizing, I don't know how to do this, and put yourself into his keeping. Many times, if you've had a job for a while, you get into a routine, you do the same thing most day after day, but that when we settle into that routine, many times we cut God off. We don't keep our heart open for God to show us. Maybe it's something that we've done for 30 years. But am I going to let God show me today how he wants me to do it? God has a plan. He knows what's coming down the road. He sees the future. We don't. You know, you would think that if we knew somebody knew the future and what was coming, we would listen to them. But how many times do we not listen to God when that still small voice comes on the inside of us or comes through someone around us and says, go this way? And many times we don't do it. That's because we weren't prepared. But today, God wants to show us how to be prepared, how to let him step by step, moment by moment, through whatever we go through our day. we let that prepare us for what's coming in the next minute, the next hour, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, the next decade, whatever it is. Because I know in my life, what I've been through as a child, as a young man, as an older man, has prepared me for everything that I've walked through. And when I entrust Jesus with my life, it's easy to walk through. Many times we're afraid of what's going to come or what is happening. We don't like that being uncomfortable. But it's those times where Jesus is training us, where Jesus is getting us ready. You know, again, back to our example of school. When you're in school, you take tests. And a lot of times children don't like tests, but truth is that test is simply to let that child know and let the teacher know, let the parents know this is where they are getting it and this is where they are not getting it, so that they can work on the areas where they don't understand and need help, so that the next test, they're ready for it. Well, we have those tests every single day. Maybe somebody cuts us off in traffic. You know, maybe there's something that goes wrong at work. Maybe a coworker has a crossword for us. Whatever it is, God wants to prepare us for it. God wants to walk us through it. You know, Jesus really does want to live on the inside of you, live on the inside of me, to tell us, take this step, not that step. He really does love us. You know, he told his disciples, he said, I'm going to go away because it's better if I go away. That way I can be with all of you. And the disciples couldn't comprehend that at the time, because Jesus was right there with them, performing miracles, feeding them, taking care of them. So how could it be better if he wasn't there? But they realized afterwards, when Jesus lived on the inside of them and they had the Holy Spirit on the inside of them, that's why. Because he could be with every single one of them in whatever they went through. Well, that's no different today. That's what he has for me. That's what he has for you. Because he knows what's best. And when we come to accept that, like the Philippian jailer did, it goes on to say, with the Philippian jailer, Paul and Silas preached to him. He took them to his house. He cleaned them up. He fed them. They preached to him while they were doing that. And it says in verse 34 of chapter 16, then he took them up into his house, set food before them, and it says he leaped much for joy and exulted with all his family because he believed in God. He accepted and joyously welcomed what God had made known through Jesus. That can be us. We don't have to worry about what's coming ahead. We don't have to worry about what's happening right now. We don't have to worry about the pandemic. We don't have to worry about the virus. We don't have to worry about the financial situations. We don't have to worry about our jobs. If we will simply take ourselves out of our keeping, put ourselves into his keeping. You know, as I was mulling over this and God was really speaking to me, I went back to Daniel and I looked at Daniel's life. And in Daniel chapter 1, it tells us, and most people have heard of Daniel, but I want you to listen with different ears this morning. Daniel was a very young man. Some say 12, 13, 14, 15 years old at the time. His nation, the children of Israel, God's chosen people, had sinned against God. They had cut God off, and God's judgment came. And the Babylonians came in, destroyed their country, destroyed Jerusalem, and they took some of the nobility. Daniel was part of the royalty and the nobility of Israel at that time. They took him and they brought him to Babylon. And the king said, take some of the children of Israel, teach them, train them, bring them up in our ways of the world, and bring them before me so that they can be my counselors. That was what happened with Daniel. But you look back, and we've all heard the stories of Daniel, but if you read about him, you can see where as a young man, God was already preparing him before this all happened. Because it goes on to say in verse 8, Daniel's faced with, the king has told his servants, give them my food, give them my drink. But Daniel, it says in verse 8 of chapter 1, Daniel determined in his heart. Now, as a young man, a young boy, that's a big, big choice. But it wasn't his age. It was his heart. God had been preparing his heart, but more importantly, Daniel had an open heart to let God do that in him. And I'm sure Daniel didn't understand all that was going on, what God was doing, but he allowed God to do it. And it shows right here, Daniel determined in his heart that he would not defile himself by eating his portion of the king's food and drink, because he understood it wasn't a food, it wasn't a drink. It was allowing the world to come on the inside of him. And at the same time, Daniel had 3 friends that stood with him. We call them Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That was their Babylonian names. But those 4 men, those 4 young boys, youths, stood. But they didn't just stand and make a defiant decision against the king. They had wisdom. It says in verse 9 that now God made Daniel to find favor, compassion, and loving kindness with the chief of the eunuchs. And then Daniel had the wisdom to how to go to him and say, test us, prove us, give us the food that we desire, what we want, and see if we don't look better after 10 days. And that submission to God, to do it God's way, and that wisdom God put on the inside of them made the difference. And after 10 days, they were doing much better, looked much better than all the other youths. So the eunuch said, okay, this is the right way. And he did it. But that wisdom walked Daniel and his friends through that. There's a difference between taking that defiant stand and letting the wisdom of God come on the inside of you, and letting that wisdom bring the fear of God, bring that strength on the inside of you that you need to stand. You can be rebellious and bow up and fight against authority and fight against what you don't think's right. But that's not God's way. We should be able to stand up against the attacks of the devil, however they come, whether it's through a virus, through an earthquake, or whatever it is, to take that stand and be strong because our hearts are submitted and humble before God. And that is a progressive work that God does in us. It says in the New Testament that we are God's garden under cultivation. You know, you don't plant a garden one day and harvest from it the next, or even the next week or the next month. It takes time. That seed goes in the ground. That seed dies. Then that seed sprouts. It grows. It gets watered. It gets sunshine. And it grows. And it grows. Then, as it gets old enough, big enough, it produces fruit. That's the way we should be. Producing fruit, more fruit. And you know, it's like Jesus said, with a vine, you have to prune it. You have to cut it back so that it produces more and better and richer fruit, Jesus said. That's what God does to us through these situations that we go through. You know, again, I can look back at relationships that I thought were the will of God for my life, and they weren't. And it hurt when that relationship ended. But that hurt came from where I didn't submit to Jesus, and I didn't surrender my heart to his will. But once I did, the hurt left, and then God's will was right there for me. My wife and I shared on the radio several months ago about some of our testimony where I've known my wife since I was 8 years old and she was 11. We grew up together as friends. She went one way in a relationship and I went another. And all the time God was wanting to bring us together in a relationship. We didn't have to go down those unhappy paths. God had a path for us. But because we were rebellious and did not stop and let God's plan unfold in our lives, it didn't work. And we had a hard, as the world says, a hard road to hoe. But you know, the moment we turned, we recognized that, we surrendered to him. And all we wanted was God's will. I wasn't looking for a wife. I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wanted Jesus to change me because I knew I needed change. When that happened, and my heart was surrendered to him, there was the will of God standing right next to me all along, and I didn't even know it. And she feels the same way. And we've been married for over 30 years now. That's how God works. If I had gone down the path in the other relationship, I am convinced I would have been divorced by now because it wasn't the will of God. It's like trying to put that square peg in a round hole. It won't work. You might could take a hammer and force it and beat it, but that's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain, and that square peg is not a square peg anymore. It's not designed to go in that round hole. God has a plan for us. And it does say in Psalms 106 that the Israelites, they went through the wilderness. God took them through that wilderness on purpose. It even says that it would have taken 11 days for the Israelites to go from Egypt to Israel, to the land of Canaan, by just simply walking. But God took them through the wilderness because he understood there was a work that needed to happen in their heart to trust him, so that when they got to that land, the world wouldn't take them over. Because there was a lot of heathen people in that land of Canaan. That's why God told them to drive them out when they finally got there, because he understood their practices, their evil doings would affect the Israelites. And it's true of us today. We've seen areas where we had the wrong friends, the wrong relationships, and it went bad for us. But God, in his mercy, took them through that wilderness. You know, it seemed like hard times for them. They came to the Red Sea. The Egyptians were behind them. And yet God came and parted that Red Sea. They got past the Red Sea. 3 days later, they have no water in the desert. They're dying of thirst. God comes. He has Moses hit the rock. Water comes out of the rock. And actually, that time, there was actually a lake of water there that was bitter. They couldn't drink it. Moses cut down a tree because God told him to, threw it in the water. They could drink the waters. At every point, God proved himself faithful. God showed them what to do. And yet, the only ones that really let that work be done in them was Moses, Aaron, Joshua, and Caleb. And even Moses and Aaron didn't get the complete work done in their heart that they needed to, because you read later on, they came back again to another situation, the third recorded situation in the Bible about them not having water. And this time, the Israelites provoked Moses and Aaron, and they let that get to them, and they got angry. God, in his mercy, still brought them water out of the rock. But because Moses and Aaron didn't do it God's way, God said, you're not going into the promised land. You're going to sanctify me before the people. But Joshua and Caleb, it says, were of a different spirit. And they let that work be done in them. I mean, think about it. Those were young men, and they get almost to the land of Canaan, almost to the promised land. And God tells the Israelites, I'm not letting you go in. You're going back to the wilderness to have that work done in you. And Joshua and Caleb are one of them, and God had already told them, you're of a different spirit. You're after my own heart. I'm going to let you go in. But here they had to go another 40 years in that wilderness, in that desert, waiting until God's time was right to take the whole nation in. But they did it patiently. They let God continue to work in them, and they went into that land, and they were 80 years old. And Caleb came to Joshua, and when they got in that land, he said, I'm 80 years old, and I'm as strong today as I was back then. I want the hardest part of the country because that's what God gave me. That's the kind of spirit God wants to put in all of us, because we've got to have that fight by the Spirit of God, coming from the strength of having Jesus on the inside of us. We have to have that to stand through these days. No amount of education, no amount of physical strength, no amount of conditioning, no amount of exercising, no amount of going to school is going to prepare us for what's ahead. It's only going to be, we're only going to make it by letting Jesus come in us and letting the Holy Spirit of God teach us and train us. So back to Daniel. Daniel let that work in his heart. And you read Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream. Wakes up, it's bothering him, but he cannot remember the dream. He calls all the wise men. They're saying, well, tell us the dream and we'll tell you the interpretation. He said, I don't remember it, and I don't trust you. If you can't tell me the dream, then you can't tell me the interpretation. And if you can't, I'm going to have all the wise men slaughtered. Well, that included Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But if you look in chapter 2, I love this. The decree went forth. The captain of the guard goes out to kill all the wise men. Comes to Daniel because it's Daniel's turn to die. Daniel says, in peace. And I want you to listen to that. In peace, Daniel says to him, why is this so urgent from the king? He wasn't afraid. He wasn't tormented by it. He wasn't worried. And the man told him what had happened. And Daniel, it says in chapter 2, verse 14, returned an answer which was full of prudence and wisdom to the captain of the guard. What God did for Daniel, God wants to do through us. Whether you're 6 years old, 16, 26, 36, 50, whatever, 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever your age, doesn't matter what you've done, what you've been through, God can still do this in your heart if you will turn to him like that Philippian jailer did. God can still give us that wisdom and that prudence to deal with whatever's in front of us. And you know, Daniel went home to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He told them what happened. And it says that he asked his companions that they would desire and request mercy of the God of heaven concerning this secret, this dream, that Daniel and his companions should not perish with the rest of the wise men in Babylon. Then the secret was revealed to Daniel in a vision of the night, and Daniel blessed the God of heaven because he recognized who the answer came from. And it says that Daniel goes to the king. In verse 27, the king saying, "Can you answer this for me? Can you tell me?" Daniel answered the king, "The mysterious secret which the king has demanded, neither the wise men, the enchanters, the magicians, nor astrologers, nor learned educators, nor politicians, nor anybody can show you what the answer is. But," Daniel says, and God says to us today, "there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets, and he has made known to the king what it is that shall be in the latter days." And he goes on to tell the king what his dream is. But in verse 30, Daniel says, "But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than anyone else living, but in order that the interpretation may be known to the king." Daniel recognized it wasn't anything special about him. And if we make it, if we endure to the end like the Bible says, it's not going to be because of anything special in me, anything special in you. It's not us. It all comes down to, and this is where we have a level playing field with everyone. It doesn't matter where you live, what conditions you grew up in, who your parents were, where you are now, what you've done, what you haven't done. It all comes down to the submission of our hearts to God, to let him be God in our life, and for his son Jesus to come and live on the inside of us with his Holy Spirit. That doesn't matter whether you're the king of a country or you're the lowest born servant or you're a slave or you're whoever. It doesn't matter. We all, that's the only way into heaven. Doesn't matter what we do good. Jesus said in Matthew 7, there'll be many on that day of judgment that say, "But Lord, Lord, I did all this. I cast out devils in your name. I preached in your name. I did this and this." And he's going to say, "I never knew you. Depart from me. You never did my will." The ones that will make it into heaven are the ones that do the will of God. And there's only one way to do the will of God, and that's submission of our hearts, that surrender of our hearts, like Acts 16 with the Philippian jailer, to let the will of God come on the inside of us and us to just obey. We don't have to understand. We don't have to know the plan. All we have to do is just take that first step and obey. One of the biggest examples to me in the Bible is Peter. When they're in the storm, Jesus had told them to go to the other side. So they're trying to go to the other side, but what happens? As always, that devil comes to keep you from doing the will of God. And he'll throw circumstances at you. He'll throw storms of all kinds at you. He'll throw financial difficulties. He'll throw physical sickness. He'll throw family members not wanting you to do the will of God. He'll throw friends not wanting you to do the will of God. He'll throw whatever it takes. He'll push whatever button there is to get you to not do the will of God. But when you surrender to God, even in the middle of the storm, Jesus came walking on the water because the storm didn't touch him. The storm didn't affect him. The storm didn't make him afraid. And Peter recognized that, and he said, "Jesus, if that's you, bid me to come to you on the water." He wanted to walk through that storm the same way. He'd been struggling through that storm. Jesus said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat. He obeyed. He didn't think about it. He didn't touch it with his mind. He got out of the boat, and he began to walk to Jesus. But when he took that first thought, and he saw the waves and the wind, he took his eyes off of Jesus, he began to sink. But he did the right thing then. He turned his heart back to Jesus and said, "Save me, I'm drowning." Jesus took him by the hand, it says, immediately, pulled him up, dealt with that sin about why he didn't believe, and took him back to the boat with him. And Jesus didn't carry him. I believe they walked back to the boat together. God wants to do that for us today. So no matter what you're doing, where you are, what storms you're going through, Jesus wants to prepare you today. Let him do it. Let that surrender come in your life today. I will. I'm praying that you will today too. We appreciate you listening this morning. Again, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're grateful that you're here today. You can watch us on the internet also at our website, wordoffaithfellowship.org. Have a great day.